And that was it, wasn't it? All the book challenges, the real ones, were because one person saw a book in a very different way than somebody else, which was fine. Everybody had the right to interpret any book any way they wanted to. What they couldn't do then was tell everybody else their interpretation was the only interpretation. Welcome to Shelf Life. This edition celebrates Banned Books Week and our freedom to read, especially young adult literature, as teens, teachers, and adults of all ages. I'm your host, Patricia Emerson. The challenged or banned selections featured here include S.E. Hinton's classic, The Outsiders, The Land by Mildred Taylor, The Glass Castle by Jeanette Walls, Sold by Patricia McCormick, Drama by Raina Telgemeier, and Stephen Chbosky's The Perks of Being a Wallflower. S.E. Hinton's classic novel, The Outsiders, shows us life from the perspective of Pony Boy Curtis. This 14-year-old can count on his family, his friend group, the Greasers, and trouble from the socials, the town's rich kids. I am a greaser, Soda Pop chanted. I'm a JD in a hood. I blacken the name of our fair city. I beat up people. I rob gas stations. I am a menace to society. Man, do I have fun. Greaser, greaser, greaser. Oh, victim of environment, underprivileged, rotten, no count hood. Juvenile delinquent, you're no good. Holding his own in a place that's sharply divided between the haves and the have-nots, the east side and the west, means always being ready to fight. Here's my cat Jackie. He really likes The Outsiders. But will violence change anything? Pony is soon to find out. A late-night violent encounter with the socius pushes him and his friend Johnny too far. Then Pony and Johnny are forced to run. Challenged and banned for its vivid descriptions of gangs and gang violence and stark depictions of teens making their way in the world alone, Hinton's novel demands our attention now as much as it did when it was first published in 1967. In a note to the reader that prefaces her often challenged novel, The Land, author Mildred Taylor writes, although there are those who wish to ban my books because I have used language that is painful, I have chosen to use language that was spoken during the period, for I refuse to whitewash history. The language was painful, and life was painful for many African Americans, including my family. I remember the pain. Paul Edward is 14 when this story begins. He has grown up in a house of a white man, his father, raised like his white brothers, his father's real children. Paul's mother, Sarah, was a slave when he and his sister Cassie were born. Now it's 1880. They have their freedom. Paul has light skin inherited from his father, but the slave history and blood of his mother. Until now, Paul has taken for granted the privilege of his white upbringing on his father's farm in Georgia, his education, his inclusion in the family. When his father and his dearest brother Robert seem to turn on him, he must leave that comfortable childhood behind and confront his identity, the way the world sees him in a harsh and unjust society. Paul strikes out on his own to shape his future, to claim land he has dreamed one day would be his. Paul takes us with him on this quest, from Georgia to East Texas to Mississippi, one that sees him cheated yet unbowed. He meets those who respect him for his skills. He's learned fine woodworking craft and is a wizard with horses. Some treat him as an equal, but many others just won't. Paul, with his best friend Mitchell, sets his sights on a piece of property in Mississippi, and finally, it seems as if he'll realize his dream, but the cost will be great. The land, Paul Edwards' story becomes our story, and it's one you don't want to miss. The Glass Castle, a memoir by Jeanette Walls, has been both challenged and banned from schools and even some libraries when it was first published in 2012. Walls writes with stark description as she matter-of-factly recounts her tale of growing up in an unconventional family, one with alcoholism and abuse as well as mental illness at its center. That certainly explains why many parents have wanted Wall's story censored. In the end, this compelling memoir shows the ability people have to endure and triumph despite overwhelming odds, and that childhood, in the eyes of the child who's living it, may be more than what it appears. Young Jeanette and her siblings soon come to accept as normal the lack of attention to their well-being. They're constantly moving, what their beloved father calls the skedaddle, when money for rent is unavailable. It quickly becomes apparent to the reader that this is not any normal family. And specific scenes, including sexual assault and parental neglect, demand a more mature reader. Nonetheless, for those who are able to read it, Glass Castle will resonate and give hope. Though there may be dragons everywhere, facing and slaying them is well within our power. Sold, a novel in verse by Patricia McCormick, has faced several challenges at the middle school level. Lakshmi, a 13-year-old girl living in a remote village in Nepal, is sold by her desperately poor stepfather. She believes she will become a household servant to a wealthy family in a faraway city. This is how she plans to help support her family and eventually return to her beloved mountains, her goat, her mother, and her baby brother. McCormick powerfully portrays Lakshmi's realization that everything she has been told is a lie. Hunger. Tonight, when Mumtaz comes and unlocks the door, she sees there is no part of me unmarked by a strap. Now, will you agree to be with men? I shake my head. And so she says that she will starve me until I submit. What she does not realize is that I already know hunger. I know how your stomach gnaws on itself, searching for something to fill it. I know how your insides must keep moving, unwilling to believe they're empty. I also know how to swallow your spit and pretend that it is soup, how to close your nose to the scent of another family's supper fire, and how to tie your waistcloth so tight that, at least for a few hours, you can fool your belly into thinking it's full. Mumtaz, with her doughy waist and fat mango face, doesn't know the match she's met in me. Lakshmi's story, told in stunning free verse, invites us into Lakshmi's world and her all too real existence, which is the life in reality for some young women around the world. No matter who you are, Sold will change you. Raina Telgemeyer's graphic novel drama takes us into a middle school group of theater lovers. The story includes characters who are openly gay or struggling with their sexual identity, among others. Her honesty has resulted in this book being challenged. Telgemeyer's story captures life in middle school. It's messy and it's real. Humorous and heart-wrenching. These young teens, their lives jump off the page. They seem like people we know or have known. The art, Her range of facial expressions, disappointment, frustration, exuberance, inspiration, tell the story better than words alone could do. Main character Callie, passionate and sincere, the mistakes she makes despite her best intentions cause us to smile and to cringe. Celebrating strong friendship of all types and the ups and downs of life on and off the stage, drama will make you clap and cheer. Charlie is soon to enter his freshman year in high school, and he has a lot on his mind. In a series of letters written to Dear Friend, he shares his daily life, what he thinks about what happens, and all the confusion he's experiencing. As the school year opens, one of his only friends has committed suicide. Charlie is disconnected from his life, but we know that his Aunt Helen, his mom's sister, was once his favorite person in the whole world. What we don't know are the secrets that surround their relationship and underlie whatever is going on in Charlie's life. He becomes friends with older students, Patrick and Sam, seniors who appreciate Charlie's honesty, his unfiltered observations. His English teacher, Bill, champions Charlie's writing, seeing how smart and unique this student is. Throughout the novel, it's as if Charlie is trying to penetrate a transparent barrier to engage with his life with the life on the other side. The Perks of Being a Wallflower has been removed from middle school libraries for its explicit sexual references. The text includes scenes with drug and alcohol use. Author Stephen Chbosky has defended the freedom to read challenging texts, ones that may make us feel uncomfortable. Find him on YouTube and read his unforgettable novel, The Perks of Being a Wallflower. Every day, books are being published that will offend someone. What do you think about restricting what readers, particularly children and young adults, can read? Let me know in the comments below. I look forward to hearing from you. See you soon.